One, two, three. Welcome back to another episode of Just Listening Podcast. I'm with my two very good friends who have been together for quite a while. We have Lauren and Sean here today. Introduce yourself, and then we'll kind of let the people know like who you are as a couple, who you want to be known as, is essentially, yeah.
Okay, so I'm Lauren. I've been friends with Alyssa since forever, but I know this is about me and Sean. So, your turn.
My name is Sean. I've been in the background of these two's lives for a while, but started dating Rennie when we got out of high school. When she got out of high school, because I'm a grade
Yeah,
older
I
and
was
stuff.
17.
Oh, she was a minor, Sean.
No, I was
I remember we were like on our first date, and
okay.
then
We were talking like
Uh,
when I was 17.
yeah, we were talking, and then like I just turned 18. So when we were at the
Yeah.
movie theater, I was like, "So like, how old are you?" And she was like 17. I was like,
No, I don't even know if you know this list, but like he waited to ask me out till on my 18th birthday.
I no, I remember
"Oh."
that you're on your birthday. Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
It was legal.
Because I feel like there's not
But,
really like a handbook on like how to date when you turn 18. Like, is there
yeah.
different, like, are there like forms you have to sign? Is there consensual verbal agreements and stuff? Like, it's all of that.
Well, I mean, how did okay, so I know how y'all met. Um, it was like it was through a DM. Am I wrong?
No,
Or
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
so Sean, how did you slide in the DMs?
Hit in my DMs.
So it was basically like my birthday party one time, and
One
it was at
time
my
every
birth.
year.
Yeah, it was at my birthday party, and I recently got out of a relationship that I was in for a pretty long time. It was like 3 or 4-ish years. Um, And one of my friends asked me, like, is there anyone that you think is cute? Anyone that you think is pretty? And I
Mhm,
said, oh, I think your friend Lauren's kind of cute. And she's like, Lauren Chan. I'm like, yeah, Lauren Chan's pretty cute because I saw her around and stuff.
mhm.
The
And then
government name.
my cousin,
Oh yeah.
oh shoot. Yeah, my cousin took my phone and then she DM'd her the emojis, the honey pot, the word I'm, and then home. So it was like, honey, I'm
Honey, I'm
home.
Oh
home.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was the first DM that got fired off. And I was like, oh my God, you actually did it. And then I didn't know how she was going to respond to it, but I think she responded pretty
What'd you
Okay,
respond?
first
okay.
off, I was just like confused because since he was in a relationship all of high school, I was never really in one. I was like, and I felt like we were in different spectrums of like, I don't want to say popularity, but I'm gonna say popularity just because like, I was with the tennis people and he was like with cheerleading, it was different spectrums. So I for real thought that he was pranking me. Not only that, I was on a cruise
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
when I
Mhm.
received the DM, so I got it like a day late. And he's really close to like our close friend Kelly.
Yeah.
So I was like texting Kelly like, oh, like what the heck? Like why is Sean texting me this? Like I think he's pranking me. And then she was like, no, like he wants to ask you out on a date, like yada yada. So like long story short, when I come back from the cruise, he ended up going to New York for 3 weeks, and then we got to like know each other through FaceTime, and then after that, like a month later, then we finally had our first date. So it was kind of like long
Yeah. And
distance,
then
and
even
then
before that, just because I knew of her, but I never knew her
yeah,
specifically, like we would see each other around school and we would say hi and bye and stuff. But in terms of an actual like conversation, that was something that we never really had the privilege of having
yeah, it was just
happening
so
then.
like random.
But I knew her friends, like I knew Kelly, and I was like to Kelly, like, yo, like I think Lauren's cute, blah blah blah. And then she
Yeah.
asked you
I
if
guess that just shows how insecure I am because I was like, oh, he's joking. There's no way. Like,
That's hella raw though, especially because yeah, where we're from, it's kind of like a small
Mhm.
town, so you kind of know everyone. Like, who's that? So you're like in contact with them, but you never really have a conversation with them. So having that like slid in the DMs, I mean, that's big. What were you feeling after that? After that one, well, at least your date, because you said like once you got that DM, it was kind of like, is this like a joke? But after the date, how did that go?
So it was interesting to say the least, just because I don't know. I've never gone on like a legit date with somebody.
Mhm.
We it was like really funny because he like made me laugh the whole time. We were just like talking about like, oh, the fact that like you knew my mom my whole life, because like we went to the same elementary school and high school, but just like he said, like knew of each other.
Yeah, we have a picture with each other in, like, not with each other, but like next to each other in the yearbook, in our
Yeah,
elementary
it's
school
just
yearbook.
like little random things like that.
Okay.
Like
Mhm.
we're always like side by side each other through life, but the fact that it was only until like after high school and just happened to be like after he got out of that really long relationship that we decided to like click, and things were like really cool, you know. I was like, well, this
Mhm.
guy's super funny, like,
Mhm.
you know. And like funny story, like you, you were there on my first date because
Did you ever tell Sean that what we did?
Yeah, she told
yeah,
me.
I told him, but yeah, when you and our other friends like tagged along, like spying on our date, like, you know, that made me feel comfortable too.
Yeah.
So, funny story too, like I actually had my first kiss with him that date too. So I was even more like ecstatic. And when you guys like picked me up, I was just like freaking out, just totally like, oh, is this real? Like, is this guy real? Like, still thinking it's a prank, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's pretty much.
No, yeah, when we came to that date, I think we were all in the car and we told you that we were gonna spy on you, but we couldn't really because we were gonna go in the movie theater, but we were just walking around. No, we were driving and then we saw you and we're like, oh shit. We're like, what happened? What happened after this? And it was just kind of like, I don't know, it was new because also like all of our friends were kind of dating at this time too, and then getting into serious relationships. So this was like really new. So we like knew Sean, but we were also like,
Yeah,
like, you
very
know,
vicious.
yeah,
But that means
Yeah.
that you guys were like good friends, you know, like looking out for me. But and then you even said like you guys wanted to hide in the planters, like
yeah. We hella just tried to, I think, just see because it was weird though, because we would usually do that with people who we would meet on like dating apps, like, oh, like they're going on this
You guys,
date.
like, you guys had some knowledge of me already. Like you guys
Yeah,
yeah.
had.
yeah, yeah. So it wasn't more of like, let's make sure that he doesn't kidnap her or anything. It was more of like, we just want to be nosy. Like we were just trying to get juice. I don't
Yeah.
know. That day was like that day was I would say it was really memorable too on our end because it was kind of like, wow, like she looks happy. Like she looks happy in like a romantic way. You know what I'm saying?
It was
But I
different,
mean,
sure.
yeah, exactly. I mean, but that also brings me to what what makes y'all happy at when y'all are together, like, or what were your happy times, what are your happy times when you're together, I guess.
That's you.
There's a bunch. I mean, there's like a lot out there. I mean, like so this may be a little bit controversial, but like being in a relationship at such a young age is pretty difficult to try and, like, work out and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, like I'm having no difficulty with it. Like I think it's like one of the easiest things ever.
Hmm.
But there's still that element of you are responsible in caring for that other person. And I think those are some of the times where I'm kind of like the most happy. Like if she needs me to hold her hand during like a scary movie or something, I'm there. If she's hungry, we can go to get food or something. Or like,
Head ass.
no, no, like I
So
genuinely,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I genuinely find joy in seeing her happy, or like seeing her smile. And if there's
Mhm.
anything that I can do to maybe, like, make that a little bit easier to come across your face or something, then I want to
Mhm.
be there for you and be able to do that. So it's kind of just nice too, because I know that she kind of feels the same way back towards me. Like we care about each
Yeah.
other's well-being, like whether or not you've eaten, whether or not you've
Mm.
drank water today, whether or not you've had a breakdown lately. And I think the more you can communicate on those types of things, the better of a headspace you'll be in, at least in terms of with your partner.
No, and that's like why I think like it's easy for us too, because I feel like we're really compatible with each other in the sense that we just like love laughing with each other. Like that's like a really big thing. Like our
We like
families are really
eating.
cool with each other, you know. It's like we're family oriented. My friends like him, like I like his
Do we?
friends. It's like,
I'm just kidding.
Mm.
JK
yeah.
all over
And
me.
like I feel like we also have like the same love languages. Like we have like
Quality
uh,
time is a big one with y'all.
yeah, a big one for us I'd say
Quality
is
time.
quality time and physical touch, just because like we like hugging each other
Yeah,
and
dude, like
stuff.
for if we haven't seen each other in a while and we hug each other for a little bit, it's low key like you're charging up again. Like
Yeah.
that's what it feels like. It's like, oh, I can just like relax, I can just chill.
Mm.
I can feel rested at least or
Yeah.
something.
What about you, Liz? What's your love language?
My love language is always quality time. That's at the top, and then I think words of affirmation. I feel like that came recently. That that
Hmm.
whole thing. But I think it hasn't always been easy determining like what love languages were, and especially when it comes to communicating. How'd y'all
Hmm.
get past that? If you had that phase where it's kind of like I don't know how to bring it up to them, or like if I bring it up to them, is it weird, like that kind of phase? Because I'm sure what y'all are 2 years in now, right?
We're
Three.
three.
Three. Oh wow.
Yeah, so we've been like talking to each ever since like our first date. That was 4 years
Mhm.
ago
But
now, which is crazy. But
it's honestly taken a lot of time and it's taken a lot of patience trying to learn. So for
mm,
example, like if she's upset and I want to do something about it, I immediately want to be like, okay, what can I do to fix it? What can I do? Like, do
mm,
you need this? Do you need this? And it's not like it's a problem that needs to be solved. It's more of like I just want to be listened to or like heard or something.
yeah, which is rare because like there's not a lot of guys who are like that. So I do love him in that sense. But I feel like I'm the more stubborn one when it comes to communication in the relationship, just because when he's always like immediately, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. Like sometimes I'm just like, I can't talk to you right now. I need space, and then I can talk to you about
Yeah.
it. Like my thing, if I'm angry or sad, like I'm automatically silent, which I feel like that's just kind of who I am in
Oh my
nature. Like
god,
when
that
I
bugs
first
me
meet,
so
yeah, I know.
much.
Yeah, that's one of his pet peeves about me. But seriously, it's like if he we like have a really big fight, I'm just like don't want to talk to him.
Because
Like
I come from like at least like my upbringing and stuff. Like if we
yeah.
had a problem, like I wouldn't be able to hide anything on my face, at least in front of my parents. Like they would be able to
Mm,
get it out of me. And I think that I lived life a little bit better knowing that if I had something that I needed to talk about, I can get it out there
Yeah.
rather than holding it in. Because the way that like say like stress and anger was kind of described to me was like it's like a credit card. Like if you don't swipe it now, you're gonna have to pay for it later.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah. And I always wanted to try and like instill that in her, but
yeah.
we've gotten a lot better at
I've
it. Like, yo, she's
grown.
definitely grown a
Yeah.
lot from not being able to articulate how she's feeling to being able to articulate to the T. Like, she's come a long way
Mm,
in
Yeah.
terms of like talking about what she wants, what she needs in a
Mhm.
certain moment. But yeah, it takes a lot of time and patience to try and figure those things out with your partner.
yeah.
She the same too, Lauren, like that. That's just kind of how it is, like just time and working it
Yeah,
out.
it's just time. And I'd say, like, with us particularly, it was kind of like the situation and event because I'd say one of the biggest like times where we did struggle with communication is like when I was about to like start nursing school because I
Mhm.
was like, oh shoot, like I'm not gonna have enough time for him and he's always gonna be working. So we even like had like a lot of times where we'd sit in our car and like evaluate like all these like ifs and like buts and like blah 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 about our future, but it's
Mhm.
like you can't really do that in a relationship. You just have to like communicate in the present, because if you want to be that with that person like for a really long time, you just have to like be willing to take like step by step. You can't always just like overthink in the future. And then I feel like that's very common for people too, like in
Yeah.
relationships, and that's how they end up like falling out, is because they overthink. So I'm lucky to have somebody who does like to talk about problems and
Uh,
Oh, you like
uh,
me.
yeah. uh, no, yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that's a lot of things that within a relationship it's not easy. I mean, I wouldn't really know, but like seeing from the outside looking in, I feel like y'all have come past the point of where you are communicating well, even if when it comes to y'all's decisions as together, like, hey, this is a decision that we've made, or we've made it separately, but we're still kind of like on that same boat.
And
yeah.
I think one of the things that is one of the biggest opponents of that is overthinking.
Hmm.
And if you start putting yourself in a hole, like the more you focus on something, the bigger it's going to become in your head. So if you're focusing like, oh, I'm not good enough, you're going to start finding all the details that pick out like, oh, I'm not good enough for this person, or like, she should be with this person instead of me, or like, I can't do this. I wish she had someone who can do this for her. And if you give that a lot of thought and a lot of attention, it's going to start eating at you.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I personally remember when I have when I start having those thoughts is like I want to be able to give her what I can, even if kind of just like that unconditional love type of thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
like
if
that's kind
people
of like the
ever
easiest way to
doubt,
see it.
yeah, if people ever doubt like if they're enough for their partner, just think like, well, that person chose you for a reason and not anybody else.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's a really big
And if there's
factor.
anyone who could do a better job at loving this person, then they should have it. But at right now, at this moment in history, I think that I'm the best person for like to do that job.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like also y'all mentioned the whole thing about your schedules. So you
Hmm.
both are really, really busy people. I
Hmm.
mean, going to nursing school as well as like taking up your masters, those in itself are really big, but y'all are also like working and there's like um that family aspect to life of how they really come in. And obviously like anything else that's external, I guess. How do you deal with it when it's kind of like your quality time is lessened, especially with the quarantine? I know like in the beginning of this all was it was really rough.
Yeah.
How are y'all able to like manage with as busy as schedules that y'all had?
So currently, what we do is we try to at least have one day out of the week where we won't have any work. Obviously, we can't control school, so we like work around like school for both of us.
Hmm.
So like right now, like for example, we always have Wednesdays open. So I'll never like, you know, ask for a shift or something, and we always try to like see each other or like go to one another's house. So at least like to have at least like one day out of the week where I'm like, okay, like at least I get to see him, even if it's for like this small amount of time, I get to like spend time with him. So I feel like finding a balance between both of you guys is like very important.
Hmm.
Mm.
And me personally, I think that your 20s are supposed to be a time where you're building yourself. You're
Mm-hmm.
building you need to find like the skills and experience that you need to better prepare yourself like down the line and stuff. Given that her and I are both in school, we know how much of a priority that has to be in our schedule. So if we're having a day with each other and we're like, hey, I need to write this discussion board or I have to respond to this
Yeah.
post or write this essay, we're usually like super understanding over that
Yeah,
type
that's
of
also
stuff.
how we spend a lot of our free time, quote unquote, is like when we are like doing assignments
Oh.
together, as nerdy as it sounds.
Yeah, it's gotten to
But
the point where like I actually, because I'm in master school for social work, so
mm,
I've had to do a lot of research papers and stuff. So I love helping
yeah.
her out on papers, and she helps me on paper sometimes too. And I love how we can like kind of relate on some things.
Mm,
That's cool.
yeah, it just kind of like it's hard for me to realize sometimes because we have other friends who like they'll have a whole apartment or they're going on all these trips or
It's like
concerts
I
and
want
it's
that. I
yeah
want that
like we're like
now.
looking at them like in the distance like the SpongeBob like looking out or talking about the meme
Yeah,
but
yeah,
anyway,
yeah, yeah.
so it's like that in a way and so I guess it's good to just have each other to be like okay we're in the same exact boat as each other one day like we're gonna hopefully still be together and be able to like have that time where we are gonna be able to like bask in all of that success
Yeah.
together. So we just like find us like investing in
Hmm.
like our future.
And yeah, I see that too. And also like even it's kind of like a dark way to see it, but like if even if we're not together, like we still have our careers, we still have stuff that we've worked on
Mm,
independently.
Yeah.
And it's kind of something that
true.
you should never lose, but you'll be okay without that other person. Like you want them, but you don't necessarily need them with you.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's a big part of it too, making sure that we're
Yeah.
okay handling
Making sure
business
I'm an
first.
independent woman.
100%.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah,
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think that as far as like schedule goes, it's always crazy because everything is so
Mm,
unpredicted. Is that a word?
Unpredictable.
unpredictable.
Unpredictable, yes. So I feel, especially when it comes to making time for one another, it's really okay if something comes up, y'all have to be like adjustable. I
Mm,
mean, is that true, right? Like it's always if something were to come up that is kind of like out of your control, you make the time. But do you believe that like well, I mean, looking back at it, I mean, not looking back at it, looking at it this way, as far as time wise, do you think that it's destiny to how y'all met and like the way
Mm.
you're at, like how your life's going right now?
Like,
I don't know if that makes sense. You
are
know
you
what I mean?
asking if we met at the right time in our lives?
Yeah. So what I guess I was trying to go with is being that you're so busy and being that y'all met after high school, when kind of everybody does their own thing after high school. You don't really talk to your high school friends unless you're like us. And then but like, people don't really keep in touch with people from high school. So just timing, like, what do y'all have to say about timing, destiny? Do you believe in soulmates, like all that type of stuff? Because you've been, like we were talking about, you've been in each other's for a while, lives for a while, just not really as like close knit. And then also being doing all these big things. Do you think that this is like destiny in a sense, or do you not believe in that? Like, how do y'all look at that in a sense?
I'm on like half and half with that kind of.
Okay,
Just
why?
okay. I'm half on half. I'm half and half with it because one, it's like you, dude. She helped me significantly throughout my undergrad and even like during like my graduate school experience. Like in terms of being there for emotional support or being there when I have a breakdown and start crying. Like she's on
Dude, even through
FaceTime.
your breakup, I helped you. What you mean?
We will
She
talk
did,
about
and
that.
that's one of the, yeah. She's not wrong. Like one of the things that I love about her is that she's always been there. Like she's given me this like this unconditional love and support that always made me feel listened to and cared for, and that I actually felt seen. And
Mhm.
that's not something that I had with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of whether or not this was like destiny and stuff, I think you can definitely make that argument. But it I kind of just like thinking of like going with the flow and stuff. And
Yeah.
if I enjoy something, I'm gonna keep enjoying it.
Mhm.
um there are a lot of people who have bad things happen to them in life and they're like, oh, I deserve this. But I think that so long as you don't put like a cause and effect to everything and you kind of just like go with the flow and you take things as they are, roll with the punches, then I don't know, at least for me it's worked out pretty good. I
Mhm.
kind of like have a little bit of a distaste towards the everything happens for a reason thing, just because I think that can be detrimental for some people.
Okay.
For me, I feel like it was always destiny for us to be in a relationship. Maybe not romantically, but I always knew, even platonically, because
Mhm.
Just friend zone me right now.
no, it was
Straight
you.
up.
Okay,
It
anyway.
was okay. Okay,
Yeah,
well, you can finish your thought, Lauren, but we'll get back to
we'll
that.
get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay, basically, when I met him, like I just felt like our vibes, it really, like we really like connected in a way where I was like, wow, like even if this man isn't in my life, like I still want him to be like my friend, because I've never had someone who can like talk the way he does. He's really good at like consoling people and just like being like a good friend overall. So I feel like even if like we weren't romantically, we could be like soulmates as just friends. Like he's just like my person, like even if it's like no matter what it is, whatever aspect, whatever category. But yeah.
Yeah.
Did
I Huh?
we answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, you did. It's just kind of like you knew that you were meant to be in each other's lives. I felt like that's what I got from the entirety, because I mean, I'm a person of everything that happens for a reason. We'll probably have to talk on the side about that, Sean, why it is detrimental to
Mhm.
people, but I've always been about that just because I believe in, this is happening, and like this, it's just destiny. Like it's happening for a reason.
Mhm.
And so how I look at it is y'all were meant to be in each other's lives, and like you said, even if it weren't going to be, it would, if even if it wasn't going to be romantic. But speaking of friend zone, um, yeah. So we, when y'all first started dating, I remember talking to Lauren, and I was like, "Sis, y'all are just friends." Like we were. To be honest, I don't think I've told Sean this,
I've
but
never heard this
No,
from you.
you
I've only heard
haven't.
it from
yeah,
him.
I
I've
Lauren probably told you, but like I don't think I've ever told you. So in the beginning of like their relationship, we were just hanging out with Lauren. We knew that y'all were talking, and like we're going on like dates and stuff. Um and then we were saying like, hey Lauren, I don't know. Sean doesn't seem like, I don't know if he's not ready, or if he's just like, he's just friend zoning you, girl. Like you are his out there or something.
when did
Because
you say that? When did you say
No,
that?
I
When did you say
was
that?
stop.
we it was in the
It's like
beginning.
the beginning or like towards
Not the
more closer?
beginning, not
Beginning,
like
beginning?
last
No,
month.
no, dude, it was like hella in the beginning. It was when we would still hang out at Megan's like almost every day at like just kicking it, because at that point we were just kind of unsure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were kind of just unsure of what the expectations were and if you were ever gonna cuff. Because at
Hmm.
this point, we were like, okay, you've been talking for a while, but we don't know if he's serious about you.
So,
Um, you know what I'm saying? So we felt as if I don't want to say she was being taken advantage for her like emotional support, but she was
the
just
lack of
there.
like the lack of label kind of makes it like ambiguous. Like you don't really know where to place it.
Yeah, but Lauren tells us she's like he doesn't want to put a title on it yet, and we were like,
He was really upfront about it, but
"Hmm."
my I don't even know what to
Yeah.
call the
Okay.
word.
So
But what was your explanation for this time
in
period?
defense of myself, actually no, this is not even like a defense or anything, but um, I just didn't know how to be single. Like I didn't know what it was like because I was in a relationship for a really long time, and
Mhm.
I'm the type of like I was the type of dude where like since like elementary school, like oh you have a crush, I have a crush, let's like be boyfriend girlfriend, like that type of stuff.
Yeah,
Because I was used to that. Like that was fun. Um, up until after my 4 year relationship, that's when like that was like my first like serious one. And after that, I had no idea what to do. Like I didn't know like if basically I just didn't know how to date.
yeah.
So which is why like when I like on our first date, I was like, I'm not looking for anything serious, not really knowing what that
But then
meant.
kisses her, and
Yeah.
then makes her fall in love with you.
Yeah.
Basically.
Practically fell in love the first time I saw you.
But
It's fine.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I just didn't know how to handle any of that type of stuff.
Mhm.
I think like I just always told myself like no, like one day he's just
Oh,
gonna fall in love with me, and here we are. So manifested that.
Yes, manifesting.
But I don't know, because he brought up the fact in the beginning of the podcast saying like, oh well, if you know that that person is right for you, then things will kind of just like fall
Yeah,
to place. And then I feel like that's how I kind of always felt with him. Like I always knew that I was the one who could be like the best person for him, because he would vent to me about people, and I'm like, oh,
yes, dude, despite all of that, she
yeah.
stuck around
He'd
just
vent to me about like
listening.
girls and be like, oh yeah, like she's not treating me this way. Oh, and I would like listen, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like you deserve better. And then I'm like, you deserve better, I'll
yeah,
never
yeah.
tell him directly, but I always like I try to imply it, and then you know,
And that's also like a component of that was also like the overthinking aspect of it. It
Mhm.
was like, oh,
yeah.
like she's gonna find someone better. Like she's gonna find someone who's a lot better than me, like 10 times better than me.
He would use my age though
I
as
would use
like
that.
his.
Oh, he pulled the 17 card on
Because
you.
I didn't know
He
how to
did.
explain it. Like
Mhm.
I really
He
didn't.
really
I was
did.
clueless.
Yeah.
Clueless. Because and like with the label thing, like I thought that because when I was younger, like I had a cousin or I forgot who it was tell me like if you have your girlfriend, you gotta make sure that you see a future with them and stuff like that. And I don't know, I took that to heart and stuff.
Mm.
So that's why I felt like the label was such a big thing
Yeah,
that I wouldn't just throw that out like anywhere and stuff.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but that's me. Love you. I'm happy with right
Has
now.
your view of Sean changed ever since then?
Yeah, of course.
How
Of
long
How
did
course.
that
so?
take? How long did that take for
It
it?
took a while actually. Like, just to be completely honest, so when all that happened and then y'all got cuffed, I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." But before that, and it took a while just because I was like, "Okay, he cuffed her, but let's see if he's about that action." You know what I'm saying? Let's see if he's like what he everything, because of course you're gonna like what you hear,
Mhm.
whether or not like it's authentic or not. And
Sometimes your friends can see a little bit more clearly than you do.
yeah, so I also I want to admit we were kind of mean about it though. We were like, "Girl, you be friend zoned. Like if you don't get your ass out of there." Like we were just really mean about it, and that's a part of the like y'all's relationship that I did wish I was a little bit more understanding about, because of course like you can't see something unless you're in it. So when Lauren was telling us like, "Hey, he just doesn't believe in titles right now. You just got to have this relationship. I think you should take it easy." We were just kind of like, nah, he don't deserve that. Like we were just I think we were just so harsh because like you're her first boyfriend. We would just want to make sure that you're not gonna like do anything. So
And
at this
also, there
point,
are guys who like use the lack of title thing as like to their advantage.
exactly, exactly. That's why I was just kind of like, does he want to be friends with benefits? Is that's why he's not
Standard.
labeling you? Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, it took time, and then eventually I started seeing like, okay, maybe he actually does care about her, and then I think I mean, just probably a little bit, but you coming out and you being able to be like with us is different because if say like until now we still haven't really like hung out with you, we just don't know like haven't because for a while we've had like those conversations that have are like not above the surface in a sense, you know? It's not like, oh, hey, how was your day? And I'm doing this in my life. It was more of like, I want to get to know you. And I made sure to like get to know you because I felt that it was not fair for on Lauren's end that we were hella just judging you and without really knowing you. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the time to know you. And
Mm.
being that you're, Bree's like cousin, I was like, okay, like he's not gonna leave my life like anytime soon. So I was like, they're together, and then like you were part of my life in a sense in different ways. So when you and Lauren got together, I was like, oh, dope.
Like
But
another in between. Yeah.
yeah, so I was kind of just like, okay, let's just see how. Honestly, I was seeing for the first couple of months. Okay, let's see what it is. Like
Mm.
what? Like how serious is it? Is it just kind of like, oh, I thought you were cute. Let's date a little bit, and then that's it.
That's kind of like what it was for the first couple months and stuff too.
Yeah. So
You.
I mean,
To me, yeah.
to you, to
Yeah.
not.
No, just kidding.
No,
But
but it was like I felt like overall I've gotten to know y'all's relationship to where it's like, okay, I trust you. Like I don't think you're gonna do anything malicious or anything like that.
yeah.
I mean, no, just kidding. But I mean, what would y'all's advice be for anybody who is looking to be in a relationship or is like currently just going through it right now with their own relationship? Because y'all have been through those patches, but
Mm.
also you've seen the optimistic side of it, you know?
Yeah.
I think it takes. I hate to say this, but it is trial and error.
Hmm.
It's a combination of meeting enough people that make you feel alive and meeting enough people that make you not feel alive.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like, are they going to be here for a reason? Or are they going to be here for a season? And it's like
Oh, bar.
those little things.
Oh,
Sorry,
let me
stop.
just.
And it's like it's those things that make a person for you. As in, like, it kind of sucks, but no matter what, you're always gonna. No, you're not. Actually, that's not true. Sorry, I was gonna go off on another tangent. But what were you talking about again? How to
Giving
find? Oh
advice.
yeah, okay, giving
Right.
advice. So just go with the flow, take things as it is, but ultimately just be honest. I feel like not enough dudes are honest, not
Mm.
enough girls are honest when it comes to like what their intentions are. Like if
Yeah.
you're just trying to, I'm sorry for the PG listeners, I might push the envelope a little bit, but if you're trying to smash, just go ahead and just say it. Be upfront. If you want a relationship, you could go ahead and say it. You don't have to be shady to get what you want out of a relationship. If you really genuinely don't know, ask someone older than you who may know. But
Hmm.
I think that's my biggest thing. Like making sure that everyone knows what's on the table, what you're
Yeah.
putting into it, what you expect out of something.
Hmm.
What about you?
Oh, well, with me, like, I know every person is different and everything, but when I was little, I don't know who told me this, but I heard that people end up with somebody that they've already met before in their life. So my entire life, I was like, who am I going to end up with that I already knew? And the fact that I ended up with someone that I did already know is just kind of crazy to me. So I'm not saying to people like, oh, keep your eyes open for the people you've met or blah, blah, blah. But
Mhm.
I'm just saying, like, keep your possibilities open. You never know who, we get older, say somebody from high school or whatever, or say like the man making your coffee every morning. Just like be open to talk to people because you never really know.
What's standing right in front of you?
Yeah, I know with COVID, like things like obviously like are like way harder to date.
But
Okay, so I don't know where it left off, but basically, I heard this thing where like if you're gonna end up with somebody who you met previously, so
mhm,
like my advice to all you singles out there who are looking for love is just to keep your, keep your possibilities open. like be open to talk to people. And then even though if it is like hard with COVID and everything, you know, you can just like take this time to
Focus
connect.
on
Yeah,
yourself.
focus on yourself. There you go. Like
Mhm.
your people skills, you know, because
Self-love.
yeah, we're so young right now, and even like if you're watching this and you're old, like you know, you got time. Hopefully, you know.
It's never too late.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
never
will,
too
it's
late.
never
There
too
you go.
late.
That's a nicer way to put
But
it.
I
You
think
got time.
the biggest thing that you can
Time.
do for yourself is just self-care and self-love. Like
Yeah.
you need to be able that you like if you want to share your heart with another person, you have to make sure that you can love it yourself too.
Exactly.
And otherwise you're going to be dragging that other person into the struggles that you should be going through by yourself that are necessary for you to become an adult. Because you know, if growing up isn't easy, but having someone there with you definitely does alleviate some of those obstacles. It does alleviate some of that pressure off of you. So you just got to take care of yourself, your mental, your physical, and then eventually the universe will have something that
Yeah.
butters your bread,
Take this
butters your
time to
muffin. I
love
forgot what it
yourself
means.
so you can love someone else.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Yeah, I mean, I'll look into buttering my bread and finding that person that I met already. Straight up.
You never know. You never know, you know.
Yeah, but thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. Yeah, I think I really appreciate y'all and also just being able to have y'all in my life, and then hopefully whatever y'all had said on this podcast, people could just learn from it, and if even if they don't, they got to know a little bit about who you are as individuals, and also like as a relationship. Oh, so head ass. But if y'all want to plug anything, any of your socials, now's the time.
You go first.
Twitter, IG.
Oh, so I'm loud and proud on Instagram
You
and
gotta spell it.
Twitter.
Just spell it.
LAUND proud.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my plug.
At Ocean Current, OSEANCURRENT. Stay current with stuff. I'm a super big nerd when it comes to social work and like community activism, mental health advocacy, all that stuff. So if you guys have any questions or I'm more than happy to help out with that. So yeah. Oh, and also, oh my goodies, I'm gonna spell it for you real quick. It's my mom's
He doesn't know
baking
how to
brand,
spell.
and it's like a thing that you can get if you're in SoCal. I don't know
It's
if a lot of
Filipino.
Filipino. She also has
Area.
it's
Yeah.
bomb. It got like ube cheesecake. We got lomi. We got a whole bunch of stuff. So that one is at on Instagram OHMYGOODEEZ.
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
Oh my
goodies. Like
goodies,
these nuts.
these
It's
nuts.
spelled. Yeah, he
Basically,
should have just done that.
I wanted to, but I didn't know if that was like okay. That's a little risky.
Okay. Anyway, thank you, Liz.
But thank you all for tuning in for the Just Listening podcast. Wonderful having y'all as guests, and we'll see you at the next episode. Peace.